Over the last few years, I have grown to love firearms. I'm super interested in them. I know far from everything there is to know. I'm far from an expert, but I've grown to have a real passion for them, which means, as you can imagine, I spend a lot of time on Guntube. And there are some big household names in the world of Guntube, the gun side of YouTube. And without a doubt, the largest, most householdiest of household names would be Brandon Herrera. And he makes some great content, let me tell you. His Darwin Awards series is hilarious. I love seeing idiots hurt themselves using guns and then learning from their mistakes as I laugh at their misfortune. It's such a perfect combination. Education and laughing at bad things happening to people. And you hope, you just have to hope they're bad people who deserved it. Otherwise it gets kind of sad and it's hard to laugh at it. But that all aside, Brandon Herrera makes some pretty fun content, let me tell you. Like, the guy's a visionary in a lot of ways. He's got, like, a real deserved control, you could call it, over Guntube. And when I say control, I don't mean like he owns it, he controls it, he's pulling the strings. I just mean like, this guy is a trendsetter. You know, no one wants to be on Brandon Herrera's bad side in the gun community. This is the guy who invented the AK-50, a weapon that has been so hyped up in its existence, or its potential existence, that the creators of John Wick reached out to him wanting to have John Wick use one in the newest John Wick movie, but it wasn't complete in time, so they weren't able to do that. But at some point in the future, there's gonna be a John Wick project where Brandon Herrera's AK-50 platform is used. Probably by John Wick, played by Keanu Reeves himself. This guy's gotten to be a big deal, and for good reason. He's earned it, make no mistake. Here's an example of one of his newest videos, which is showcasing the legendary AK-50. I mean, even I was hyped about this thing. So, like, make no mistake, this guy makes some good content, and he is huge. Look at this thing. He made that. He invented it.
What? You didn't think we forgot about the AK-50, did you?
What's going on, guys? How you doing? Hope you're doing well. This bad boy needs no introduction, but for those who don't know, this is my gun. The AK-50. Where AK-50? Here AK-50. It's real.
I can touch you now.
It's been a while since we've done an update or a video on the AK-50 project, and I guess for good reason. It's kind of done. We had this version of the AK-50, this prototype, finished last year. But as always, when we have time to tinker with it, we're always making small, little incremental changes.
Like, it came out looking amazing, you know? Like, it's recognizable as an AK. You can tell because they had this, like, they shaped this part to be specifically like, oh yeah, the AK is shaped like that, you know? Like, so you can kind of tell, like, yeah, you know, that is an AK. It's just big, you know? So the design was very thoughtful. You know, very good stuff here, right? Here's the thing, though. Brandon Herrera, as much as his gun content is such a blast, no pun intended, and I do not want to shame you for liking his gun content. I like his gun content. I watch it, all right? I'm not judging anybody here who enjoys his stuff. I feel it important to inform. I like to inform people. I like telling people about stuff. It's fun. Brandon Herrera has a little bit of a history online that you might want to know about. And I've talked about this before, and in response, my video was decimated. It was stomped. I got so many dislikes, the video got deboosted in the algorithm, and I'm pretty sure the majority of viewers disliked it and left hate comments because I talked about what we're going to be talking about momentarily. You see, Brandon Herrera is a bit of an older guy, and he's been around doing things in the world of business for quite some time, well before he became super viral as a YouTuber. In fact, Herrera owns a Fayetteville, North Carolina-based gun manufacturing company, and has been a member, over the course of numerous years, of the Fayetteville chapter of the Sons of Confederate Veterans Society. In 2014, he filmed a video for the Sons of Confederate Veterans chapter to welcome and advertise to new members. This group is literally one of his business partners who he has advocated for in the past. And this is literally him when he was younger, wearing a shirt with the Confederate flag on it. I shit you not.
Hi there, I'm Brandon Herrera with Fayetteville Arsenal Camp number 168, and welcome to the SCV. The SCV, or the Sons of Confederate Veterans, is a historical honor society dedicated to preserving Confederate heritage and learning more about our ancestors who fought and died in the War of Northern Aggression. The SCV is open to any male over the age
The War of Northern Aggression, he calls it. Amazing.
of 12 years old who has an ancestor who fought in the Confederate Army. The Fayetteville Arsenal Camp meets the first Tuesday of every month at 7 o'clock at the Cumberland County Wildlife Club. And what happens is, us guys, we get together and we eat supper. A meal is provided at every...
Nobody alive today has a parent that served in the Civil War, nor was anyone in 2014 alive that had a parent that served in the Civil War. It happened in the mid-1800s, exactly. Or grandparent. It happened in the mid-1800s. Reminder. Very, very long time ago.
Every meeting, and it's usually good, Southern cooked food. And Danny is one of the guys who works behind the kitchen for us. And Danny, if you're out there listening to this, more fried chicken, please. I swear, our membership's going to go up 200%. Fried chicken. All right.
It's true. It's true. Racists can say whatever they want, but even the racists admit everybody loves fried chicken. It's the best there is. It's the best there is.
Now that that's out of the way, what usually happens at our meetings...
Fuck, I might join now.
As we listen to a guest speaker, or maybe one of our members gives a presentation about a little-known fact about the war, or a battle, or something like that. And once a year, we actually have what we call our annual Yankee shoot, where we go out back with black powder rifles and some that were actually in the war, some survivor Enfield.
They do a Yankee shoot. They do a Lost Cause or recreation of, a mass, shooting... like a firing squad execution of Northern soldiers. Like that is fucking crazy. Mind you guys, I need to remind you, when I covered this, when I dare to talk about this guy, his fan base is so defensive and of him and of their fandom of him, or they agree with him so hard and want to cover for him because of this, that they ratioed the fuck out of me, calling me delusional, acting like I was pulling the allegation that Brandon Herrera was pro-Confederacy out of thin air. Seriously, look up Xander Hall Brandon Herrera and go read the comments. They will make your brain melt. It'll be it's like they're pretending this video was not shown, and at no point did I showcase the fact that he is very clearly, in fact, pro-Confederate.
And we go out and we shoot up posters of our favorite Yankees, and it really is pretty cool. Another thing that the camp does is once a year we try to take a trip where we rent a van and we get as many camp members as can go together, and we go down to a famous battle site. Like in years past, we went to Chancellorsville and Manassas, and just last year we went to Chickamauga. And we get personal tours a lot of times from the Rangers, and we're very well received. And we eat dinner together, and we get a hotel and swap lies and just hang out with other members of the camp. And usually it's a lot of fun. Now, even with all the cool stuff that the SCV does, like the annual Sam Davis Youth Camp or the Lee Jackson Ball, there is a more serious side to what we do here. Where I'm sitting today is what's left of the Fayetteville Arsenal. It was one of the biggest arsenals in the entire Confederacy during the war. It was a major historical site. And if you can hear some of the background noise in this video...
It's like, it's not even as big as a tennis court. It was the biggest arsenal that the Confederacy had, brother. And it's not as big. It's actually legitimately smaller than a tennis court. Like, if you filled in this rocky area with sand, I don't think it's big enough regulation-wise for a game of not softball. What am I thinking of? Why is my brain the one with the net and you thwap the ball back and forth? How am I blanking on the name of this sport? Volleyball. Thank you. Yeah, I absolutely cannot remember. Yeah, it's certainly not tennis court size. You couldn't play volleyball here either. Brandon Herrera lost by only 650 votes during his last Congress run. I think he unfortunately has a decent chance to win in 2026. Well, don't go spoiling the topic of this segment. I'm getting to it, Nova Star. Chill out. But I just want to hammer home that this very popular Guntuber has a few skeletons in his closet that both his own fan base, a lot of racists out there, and I don't know, the YouTube algorithm have buried. This video was hard to find, like very hard to find, despite me knowing what it was called and looking for it. And my coverage of it got ratioed until the video was made irrelevant. Right now, it's like, I have no mouth, but I must scream. You know, it's like, I have this, like, forbidden knowledge. You know, like I feel like if people knew this is what Brandon Herrera was up to back in 2014, a lot of people would be talking about it. Like, I'm pretty sure this was going to come out one day, and there's going to be a big conversation, and I'm just going to be like, oh my god, finally. I'm going to feel so vindicated, but I'm also going to be a little triggered that people couldn't figure it out because I exposed it, but, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. Regardless, though, do I think Brandon Herrera is a racist? Probably. I'm going to be honest. You know, he makes good content. But he's probably a racist. He's probably pro-Confederacy. I've watched him appear on PKA, the Painkiller Already podcast, a fair few times. And even as of late, and every chance he gets to, like, subtly hint that his politics are very right-wing, he takes it. You know, any opportunity to, like, refer to trans women as, like, men pretending to be women, that kind of thing. I have very little doubt that or I have very little hope that he's changed his politics since 2014. It seems like, if anything, he might have gotten more radical, but better at hiding it, considering he has a massive brand to uphold now. But he's got a whole army of people out there defending his brand for him, which is why it should alarm you that this very guy has just announced that for the second time after his failed run previously, where he only lost by 650 votes, he is running for Congress again. He just put out this video yesterday. It's already got 1 million views, and there are several verified massive YouTubers in the replies saying, "You've got my vote." You've got Donut Operator, you've got my vote. JD Delay 5150, you have my wood chipper. I wonder what that could be a joke about. Better not think about it too much. Sir, a second congressional run has hit the timeline. Show them the kind of leadership that America needs, Brandon. Screaming support from Mississippi. You have my binder. Brandon Herrera is not suicidal, is in general good health, does not carry P320s, there you go, and does not have an established history of free diving while wearing cement shoes. Let's go, Brandon, from Dr. Bo Hightower. This is another big YouTuber. A lot of big verified YouTubers. Tectone says, I'd say good luck, but you won't need it. Charlie Cox, Moni Tony, about to lose big. I don't know if any of you guys know these YouTubers, but I'm just listing the ones that are comments from big YouTubers. Brandon Herrera's Congress run this time around has got more support than ever. He has got more support than ever when it comes to his supporters silencing people that expose stuff like this. This video will probably be ratioed into oblivion. Like, into dust. Until no one who could possibly watch it and be like, oh, really? Possibly gets to see it. If you want to counter that, consider hitting the like button and commenting down below. Because that'll help to counter it and, you know, boost the channel and the algorithm. I really do appreciate it. But, regardless, expect this video to be able to use this video, if you're watching it now, expect to use the performance of this video and the replies to this video to see, like an experiment, of how effective his fan base is at shutting down criticism of him. He has got one of the fakest personas I've ever seen. I like his content, don't get me wrong, but everything about his persona is very evidently fake. I think a really good showcase of this will be watching this clip from him. Finishing what I started. I'm running for Congress again.
In the 1976 film Rocky, despite what people might remember, Sylvester Stallone's character Rocky Balboa doesn't actually win in the climax of the film. Instead, everyone is just impressed that despite him going up against the current champion, he, being a rough around the edges everyman, goes the distance, beating everyone's expectations, and almost wins.
Ain't gonna be no rematch. Ain't gonna be no rematch.
In fact, it's not actually until the rematch in Rocky II that Stallone's character actually succeeds and finally wins the title.
That's the whole point, though, right? Like,
welcome.
Is this like a summary for people that didn't watch Rocky growing up, I guess? But like, that was the whole point, is that Rocky lost at the beginning of the first, or at the end of the first movie, and the second movie he gets his rematch, and then he wins, and you're like, oh yes, finally, you know, you finally get the payoff of getting to see your protagonist win, right? Like that's the thing. Oh, wait, you know, to be fair, he might be making the same point this time around. This is going to be his Rocky 2. He's going to win this time. None of his viewers actually watch any movies. They just watch conservative movie reviews. That's probably true, yeah. A large proportion of his audience, being like a very normie audience, to be fair. He's one of those like household brand YouTubers. A lot of them probably don't watch movies more than they watch like those AI voiced recaps of movies, just so they can kind of like pretend they've seen him or seen a movie. That wouldn't surprise me. Regardless, though, one thing I want to point out here is you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Like how no one actually talks like this or has the personality that Brandon Herrera is pretending to have here. Like Brandon Herrera is acting like a really advanced android's interpretation of a person that seems completely normal. Kinda cool, but mostly normal. Like, no voice cracks, projected voice, like a very, like, dude bro-y, like, faux confidence kind of vibe. Let's just listen to him talk, and you tell me, like, does anyone actually have the personality he's pretending to have here?
To Rocky II, Tony. My name is Brandon Herrera. I'm a serial entrepreneur, Second Amendment activist, content creator, firearm manufacturer, and 2 years ago, I made the decision to run for Congress.
That's why I'm running for Congress.
It was a terrifying jump into unfamiliar territory, but I did it because the congressman who represented me, Tony Gonzalez, even though a Republican, kept making...
Like, the way he talks is so, like, it feels like digital theater. You know how, like, stage acting has a sort of unmistakable look to it. If I showed you a recording of movie acting, like two actors acting for a movie scene, and I showed you footage of two actors acting in a play, you could tell them apart immediately because the kind of acting someone does when doing some kind of play is so distinctly different than the kind of acting someone does for a movie. In that same way, he is doing this, like, weird digital acting. This, like, pretend, hyper brand safe, almost personality personality-less, like, bleached persona of a person that has been popularized by the internet. You know, your Mr. Beasts and your, well, I would honestly, if I was talking about someone else, I would list Brandon Herrera, or another really good example, Pirate Software. Brandon Herrera and Pirate Software have always rubbed me the wrong way, despite me loving each of their content in certain cases. Like, they rub me the wrong way in the same way. Someone who is clearly pretending to be someone that doesn't exist. Because nobody's shit doesn't stink as bad as, like, Brandon Herrera's character thinks it doesn't. Or Pirate Software's character he puts on for the internet thinks it doesn't. It's just, especially maybe to me as someone who is a creator, being able to see, like, oh wow, no one talks the way this guy is doing. Like, he is putting on, like, a complete character even when he's on podcasts. I can tell. It bothers me. He's not being himself. And it's the same deal with Pirate Software. I think a lot of people got bothered by the fact that he was evidently not being himself, and the person he was trying to pretend to be was so... the kind of person that you'd want to be seen as if you want to be seen as cool, basically, is the best way of putting it. Like, they're fake cool, but not in, like, the internet badass, fake badass, internet tough guy kind of way. More in, like... What's a good way of putting it? The fake internet disaffected vibe, I guess would be my way of putting it. I'm getting way too hung up on how I see certain creators as kind of fake in their vibes and presentation, but yeah, like a youth pastor. That's actually a good way of putting it, Log. But anyway, let's hear what he has to say real fast.
Bad votes that just made no sense to me. Like voting for Biden's gun control, opposing border security, selling out American interests on behalf of other countries, and a bunch of other things that shocked me to learn that a Texas Republican...
How Biden literally didn't pass any substantial gun reform at all. Trump passed more gun control policy than Biden did. Biden proposed gun control policy that never passed. No, when I say proposed, he didn't even put it through the courts, if I remember right. I think Biden literally, in the election cycle, proposed overhauls of our firearm legislation, and it didn't go through. Though I could be wrong. I think I do remember him at some point actually putting a bill forward, and I think it got struck down. I could be wrong, though.
...would vote for. And I wasn't alone. Texas Republicans were so disappointed in him, they took the almost unprecedented move of censuring him. But we still needed somebody to stand up to him, which is why 2 years ago, I made the decision to jump in the Republican primary. For those who don't know, a primary election is when voters of both...
That is Matt Gaetz, by the way, who he is smiling and taking a photo with. Just thought I'd point that out. This is a guy who is really popular because he is the #1 gun guy. He, like, at some point he became the #1 gun guy, and when you're like the #1 in a certain space on YouTube, it can be surprisingly hard to lose that space. His, like, the amount of money and resources and collaboration he's had access to has been exponential, and so he secured his spot as like a fixture of this platform. And so you've got all these conservative YouTubers who are like, yeah, this is our guy, this is our guy. But then you've got literally millions of normies who support and fund this guy that have no idea that this dude is internally absolutely ideologically motivated to use his future possible position in government to help bring about fascism in America. Because, mind you, this guy isn't just pro-Trump, which is already in itself like a massive red flag these days, if it wasn't already, but he's also pro-Confederacy. Like, the people that are defending this guy are either just dick riding at this point or are themselves, you know, maybe they like the Confederacy a bit and they don't want it getting called out. That's just how I feel, though. Just seems like it's the only logical conclusion at this point. But who knows? I could be wrong. I look forward to the inevitable response from Brandon Herrera. JK. He's not going to respond to this, but his fans definitely will, and I look forward to that. It's no doubt going to be an interesting time for me. Anyway, folks, if you enjoyed this video, if you found it entertaining, educational, enjoyable in any way whatsoever at all, then please consider leaving a like down below and a comment too, whether you're watching in the future or right now as I'm streaming live. Likes and comments are the best way to support the channel and the algorithm. It takes only a second, it's totally free, so please be a liker and not a lurker. It really does help out a lot. Only 10%, I'm not joking, 10% of my fans on average like and comment. Well, way fewer comment, but only 10% of my fans on average like my videos and streams. I've done the math. Like, it's actually surprisingly consistent. Only about 10% of you guys hit the like button, which means 9 out of 10 of the people watching right now have not liked the stream, are hearing me talk about this, and are still not liking the stream. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Maybe we could increase that percentage, you know? Let's make it 12% maybe. Anyway, folks, If you guys enjoyed, though, you know what to do. Subscribe and ring the bell icon to turn on all notifications if you haven't already, so YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload new videos in the future. And of course, if you want to see more from me on other platforms, be sure to follow my social medias linked down below in the description, particularly my fan Discord, as that is the main hub of my community and fan base. I host gaming events there and watch parties and movie nights every Friday, every week. So if you don't want to miss anything and you want to be a part of the big community events that I organize every week, then make sure to join the Discord. That's the place to be. And of course, finally, if you want to go the extra mile and support me directly, help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xanderhall studio, then please consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub to someone else on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or support me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, StreamElements, Patreon, or buy some custom Xanderhall merch through the Streamlabs link down below. Regardless of how you support me, though, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, have a good one.